Hey, Huskies. I'm Kai Short,
And I'm Zane Big.
and welcome back to another episode of Newscene.
We've had an exciting few weeks. Last Friday on January 31st, we kicked off the Year of the Rat with our annual Chinese New Year festivals during the lunch periods. Students were treated to traditional dances, musical performances, and so much more. If you enjoyed the experience, be sure to thank Chinese language teacher Miss Hung.
The very next day, we had our annual Japan Festival. This year's theme was the Olympics, since Japan is hosting them this year. There are many Olympic-themed games like a scavenger hunt, glitter tattoos, sumo wrestling, and different kinds of Japanese-themed performances.
Recently, various classes have begun locking up their phones throughout the day as a way to encourage students to spend more time socializing and focusing on school. We interviewed Mr. Woolman. Here he is to talk more on the subject.
There are some concerns that have been raised around the sort of pervasiveness of phones in the building. Obviously, there are a lot of upsides and benefits that come from being connected, from having access, but faculty over the last any number of years have started to sort of become more aware of some of the downsides, some of the concerns that we have. Many of them relating to mental health, stemming from some screen addiction, addiction to the phone, a decreased focus and attention span and ability to engage. And then there's this sort of human kind of cultural element where we feel, just walking around the halls of the building, I'll say anecdotally, I feel as though I'm walking around a population that is sort of looking down and not looking up. So the pilot, the Away for the Day pilot, ultimately the goal was to sort of gain a different perspective from students, a perspective that we on the cell phone committee and elsewhere around the building we feel has been sort of missing in this institution, which is what does school feel like without the phone, without the dependency, without the distraction of that particular device throughout the day. The pilot has been remarkably smooth, I would say, shockingly smooth. We did a lot of legwork leading up to the pilot, trying to anticipate all the different problems and issues that might come up with students arriving to school late or students needing to leave early or different kind of one-off things that pop up here and there. And I'll say from my perspective, I have 19 students doing it. I have had no issues whatsoever with students delivering their phones on time, collecting their phones on time. I even had one student who left it overnight, by mistake, and it was no problem for her. A number of students in the pilot program have already asked, can I keep doing this? Can I keep going with the pilot? We're trying to think of ways that we could continue this into, later into quarter four. We are in the process of sort of settling on what will become a policy recommendation that we then send up to various bodies, the Culture, Climate, Behavior Committee and the District 200 Board to approve. So we are still in the sort of analysis mode of which policy we think makes sense for this school. And of course, just as important as the written policy itself is how to go about enforcing a policy like that and how to kind of cultivate more buy-in from the students to help them understand why we're doing this work, that it is not about taking something away and no one even has a plan to take something away. It's more about trying to change the culture of the school into a place that is less addicted, less dependent on devices and more connected as humans, and recognizing that applies to adults in the building as well, that adults need to be more mindful of their own phone usage in classrooms and the hallways, that we're all kind of in on this together and we are all losing something by our dependency on our cell phones. For students who are interested in trying it out, we want to find a way for them to do that is secure in terms of keeping their phones secure, but also kind of honoring what this pilot was really all about, which is a new experience during the day.
Spoken Word performed Thursday night in their winter showcase. Students of all ages and backgrounds performed in the Little Theater to show off their writing talents. The performances included an appearance by famous poet Ray Jackson. Be sure to check out the performance this spring.
Hey Huskies, and welcome to the first Monitor segment of 2020. For this segment, I'll be taking a closer look at the recent bushfires in Australia. It all started on January 7th when around 32,000 square miles went ablaze. If you can't picture just how much land that is, 32,000 square miles is about 85 times the size of Chicago. So far, about 28 people have been killed, 2,000 homes have been destroyed, and experts predict that about 1 billion animals will die as a result of these fires. It's also important to recognize that this disaster is larger than the recent California and Amazon fires combined. So far, there has been a lot of controversy surrounding the cause of these fires. The general consensus as of now is that the fires had originated from multiple sources. At least 24 people have been arrested for intentionally starting the fires in the South Wales region. On top of that, Australia has recently experienced a dry summer, which has made the fires so uncontrollable. However, experts predict that natural disasters like this are due to a combination of climate change and something that is known as ecoterrorism, which is when someone deliberately causes a natural disaster in order to instill chaos or violence. Whatever the cause, it is important to be aware of this issue because it can affect any of us someday. If you want to help the Australia bushfires, you and your friends can donate to the Australian Red Cross online. It takes less than 2 minutes, and you can help the Red Cross find suitable shelter for Australians in one of its 70 evacuation and recovery shelters. With our help, Australians can hopefully reach safety soon. See you next time, Huskies. This has been The Monitor.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Stay classy, Huskies.